Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. We still have Donna Lamm. She didn't go away. It's John Pollock, if you're just joining us. John went away, but not forever, just temporarily on a little vacation. Well-deserved, and he's out there eating White Castle, and we don't know what else. I'm sure he'll tell us all about it when he gets back. Meanwhile, Donna's going to kind of change hats and going to talk about something a little more serious here in the second section, water. We live in the desert. And, water is very, very important. And now we have, what is it, 99 point whatever % of the scientists saying, yes, global warming is not a myth. It is true. It is happening. And it is happening to you. Actually, I just came back from Connecticut. I've been here a year, but I lived in Connecticut for 2 years. And I went through several hurricanes there, Sandy and Irene. Wow. And, they're talking about how much worse the weather is getting. And I'm like, yeah. Hello, we understand that. So we're pretty fortunate here. We don't see a lot of it. It doesn't hit us like with a hammer over the head yet, but that's coming, right?
That's definitely coming. And Francie, it's not only coming, it's coming to us here in the hottest, driest, most arid region of the United States. We're ground zero. We're going to see it before everybody else does, in my opinion. I mean, just over the past 35 years that I've lived here in Pahrump, I've seen huge changes in regards to the water, huge. So it's definitely bearing down upon us. Yeah. And if we don't get a grip and start doing something different, then we're going to be in big trouble.
Well, but what you mean different? Like we turn off the water when we're brushing our teeth instead of letting it run. I mean, we don't leave it. Short showers, right? Water-saving devices, water-saving toilets if we can get them.
They have them at Home Depot. I've replaced mine already.
Well, maybe we need a grant to buy new toilets. I don't know. But then, don't let the hose run. Don't do your car out the home because it's no water reclamation.
Right, no reclamation. I mean, there's so many things to think of.
We assume, I see most of the desert is out here. You don't see a lot of lawns.
Not anymore.
Most of it's pretty, pretty basic. So I don't know that, our valley seems like it's like, oh yeah, not a problem. I mean, do you think that that's true?
No, I don't think that that's true. Okay. So maybe I should preface this with saying I live on a 10-acre parcel. I have a well. I live at the southwest end of town in the second most heavily populated section of Pahrump. Okay. So there are 358 wells in the 1 square mile where I live. That's a lot. And so with all those people drawing water out, my water table has dropped over a foot a year for the past 35 years. And it's continuing to drop at a rate of about 1.5 feet a year right now. Wow. So it's definitely, I literally, within the next few years, I probably will have to re-drill my well.
And how deep is your well? Do you know?
140 feet.
Okay, and how deep, do you know is there an average here?
That's pretty average. There were some wells drilled at only 60 feet back in the real early days. Well, they've already had to re-drill a long time ago. Right. The newer wells, they're trying to drill closer to 200 feet. Oh, okay. Okay, so they are cognizant that the water...
So the well drillers are, encouraging people to drill them because
to go a little deeper.
Yeah. And I know that people have talked about, we have a wonderful aquifer, supposedly, and Vegas wants to steal it, and we're not telling them they can have it and everything. But do you have more information on that? She's giving me this look.
We don't have enough water for us. So Las Vegas isn't getting any of our water anytime in the future. Okay. All right. Because we're in a state of over-allocation here. And there's a lot of reasons for this. It happened a long time ago.
Like the water feet per person or whatever?
Well, like you know how there's water rights? Yes, that people use to farm or for commercial or for subdivisions and all that. So the water rights, there are at least 3 times as many water rights out there as there is recharge of water to the basin every year.
Well, how did that happen? Because, I have to balance my checkbook. Yeah. Doesn't somebody have to balance the rights? How can you have more rights? How could you give away rights that are already gone?
Okay, so here's what happened. A long time ago, in the 50s and early 60s, there were a couple...
Before we had electricity.
Before we had electricity here in Pahrump. Okay. It's true. There was no electricity here then.
So they were writing them down by hand.
They were figuring out how to do this. what they did is they had a Desert Land Entry Act. You know, they wanted people to move out west.
Right, yes.
And so they said, okay, so if you come out here and you farm a plot of land, you can have 160 acres per person. So a husband and wife could get 320 acres, but then you only got enough water rates for what you could farm. So if they came out here and farmed the 320 acres, then they got 5 acre-feet per acre because they were growing water-intensive crops, okay? And so what happened was they thought, oh, it's the desert. Nobody's going to be successful at farming hardly at all. Well, guess what? They had something like an 80% success rate, and they had already promised out, you know, we'll give you this water if you prove it, and they did. So subsequently, what happened after that was there was so much farmland here and so many water rights that they started mining the water from the basin. And that's exactly what has happened. And now there's not as much farming anymore. There is still some, but there's not as much. So what's happening right now is the water that's coming in off of Mount Charleston, which is our sole source of water, it comes down to the fan, the alluvial fan, okay, and then the valley floor is clay. So this is real tightly packed. This is real loose. It's sand and gravel. So water can move freely through this to come down the mountain, but as soon as it hits that clay layer, it's popping up. The artesian wells along the fan are coming back up again. So water is coming up on the fan, but it continues to drop in the valley floor because it can't push through all that clay as fast as we're pulling it out.
Oh.
Okay, so that's why in some areas of town it is declining rapidly, like where I live, and in other areas up along the fan where they're not farming anymore and not using their water, then the water's coming up there. So there's a lot of plans afoot to possibly redistribute some of that water, like possibly getting it out of the fan and pumping it down to the valley floor and re-injecting it. That's one of the plans. That's called Aquifer Storage and Recovery, ASR. So that's one of the things. But really, I think the biggest thing is conservation. Conservation is the low-lying fruit. It doesn't cost anything to conserve water.
Right.
It costs a lot to drill wells and pipe it across the valley.
Oh, yeah.
So it only makes sense that conservation should be our highest priority. And that's something that I wanted to talk about, Francie, because I was at a meeting yesterday regarding the groundwater management plan. And it seems to me that there's a lot of people that are they're saying, you know, well, we have our 2 acre-feet for our domestic well, and we're not giving up any water, and we're going to use what we want. You know, well, guess what? We are all in this boat together. And if
there's only so much water.
And there's only so much water. So we need to voluntarily get together and start doing conservation plans, like you say, water efficient fixtures, you know, just being more cognizant of how you use water. We need to do these things voluntarily and not jump up and down and say, you're not taking my water out of my way. You know, it's like, what sense does this make? It makes no sense at all to me. So we need people to get on board. Nobody's trying to cap wells. Nobody's trying to take anybody's domestic well away. That's not on the books. But the fact remains, we have to work together to voluntarily make a difference so that our water will last a lot longer.
Right. Well, 2 feet of nothing is nothing.
Nothing. Thank you, Francie.
So if it's gone, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, and you can stand there with your domestic well.
And you can look out there and see, okay, well, this is what happens if there's no water. And there's going to be no people. Now, we all know what happened, how the community suffered when the monetary, thing happened to us all. And, we were all feeling pretty good before that.
Yeah, and then economic meltdown.
The economics went down and we lost businesses like crazy. We had high vacancy rate and all that. Okay, so here we are. Foreclosures like crazy. Yeah, we're trying to, recover from that. But this is a new challenge for us to look at, because if we don't have water, we don't have nothing. We have nothing. I don't want to say bad English, but we have nothing.
But it's true. I mean, if we don't have water here, we're not going to be living here for very long.
No. And people weren't really originally living here. I mean, it wasn't really designed to live here year round. It still is. It's very pretty. I like it as it is.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is, but we have to treat it like a desert. We can't have lawns. We can't waste water. I mean, it doesn't make any sense in the driest, most arid part of the country.
So do you think it's logical that I'm going to be able to go to my landlord, because we have like a little postage stamp lawn, and tell them, really, can we please, because it's just a silly... literally, it's probably as big as this table. And maybe twice as big, but it's just silly, and I don't believe in it. I don't believe it's right, but it's not mine. So so can we do that? You think?
If it's this small, why not invest in AstroTurf that you don't have to mow or water or lawnmowers?
But I have to have their permission. So that's one other thing we can do is just look
encourage,
and like kind of do a personal household. Like
inventory,
that's it, like a little inventory. Where could we do? What can we do? Is there anything that's still leaking? And if we're going to replace a toilet, we're going to do that. But you talk about the groundwater management system. So if people are interested in supporting that plan, maybe they need to come to the water district meetings.
Yes,
write emails or something that's proactive, and it does work. Recently, John Oliver did something where they were talking about the net neutrality, and he went on and he had a
gavel or
not virtually, but he went on his soapbox and he says, you have to do this. All you people that want to rant and rave over something that matters, please. Yeah. And they actually broke the system. They had like 45,000 or I don't know, an immense number of emails that said,
really?
Hey, Congress, don't do this. This is for the big guys. It's not for the average person. It's not in their benefit. They're just trying to, do a smoke and mirrors and pretend it does. So, guys, it does matter.
It does.
It can make a difference. Please speak up. Talk to your kids about it. If they're not turning off the water while they're brushing their teeth, or if the hose is running, and if you're a kid and you're noticing this, kindly ask your parent to, turn off the hose or go turn it off for them.
Be responsible for your water use. Yeah.
There is some really weird, I don't think I know what they are, but some really strange statistics about how much drinkable water there is in the world.
Not much.
No.
It's amazing.
I'll have to find those sometime or get John to do that. It really is. It's kind of frightening.
In terms of fresh water, the earth is covered, I think, 74% by water.
Yeah, but it's salt
Only
water.
3% is drinkable water of that.
Exactly.
So, and believe me, desalination is a long way off yet.
Yeah, they're still working on that one. Absolutely, yeah. So, well, this was really great. It's great to know, and I hope that this was a call to action for you all and that you learned something, and that you'll get involved, at least in your own backyard, in your own household. Do something to help us stay healthy and be able to stay in this beautiful desert.
Yeah, you don't have to go on a crusade. Just do something at home.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Francie.
Deeply appreciated. And thank you for coming in and joining with us and spending a little time in your afternoon. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you Community Viewpoint.
Yeah.